going to demonstrate the automation of the creation of spider elements in a rather model-specific kind of way that we do not support in Simcenter 3D from an out-of-the-box perspective. And so what I'm trying to do is create a RBE2 or RBE3 spider that would kind of replicate what we have in 3 meshes in this model. So right now you see a collection of 2 noded elements, and they go from a mesh point node to a node on a face that has the same theta coordinates value in this cylindrical system. So these matching nodes have identical theta values in that cylindrical system, and we need to repeat that throughout the whole band circumferentially. So there's 240 connections that we need to make there, and in this example we did it out of the box using groups in the 1D connection command, but we were limited to 2 noded elements. So I've got one leg represented here, a second leg as a second mesh, and another 240 elements, and the third leg as a third mesh and another 240 elements. Well, we want that actually to be maybe not 3 elements per source node, but 1 element. So 1 element with 3 legs. And that's the idea we're going to try to automate. So I'm going to delete these 3 meshes and 3 times 240 elements and try to replace that with a method that produces 240 spider elements. And well, first thing you need to consider is, well, how am I going to identify my source and target nodes for each individual element? If I zoom in this area, you can see I have selection recipes as bounded volumes. One is this face radial plane nodes, and it identifies nodes on our outer cylindrical face that have a common theta coordinate value. And then similarly, we have mesh point node radial plane as a second selection recipe. I can select that, and it says, well, I have a single node being identified from there. So this is a good start, and then we need to consider how we can update those selection recipes in a program so that at each loop through or each iteration through a loop in a program, we can go from point 1 to point 2, 3, and so on to create our individual spider elements. So we need some parameterization of our selection recipes. And we have that with respect to the use of expressions. And you can see here that this particular bounded volume is being defined as a cylindrical type bounding volume with a coordinate system. That coordinate system is highlighted there. It has a diameter and height, so I have inner and outer diameter values consistent with the location in the model. I have start and end heights consistent with the model as well. And then I have start angle and end angles. So that start and end angle is defining my theta kind of width in degrees. And I actually have this represented as an expression. So it says minus 0.25, but I have an expression called start angle that is a parameterized value for that location. And then I have end angle as well as the endpoint. So going from this location in my bounding volume to the end angle location. So I'll say okay or cancel to that, wouldn't make a difference. And then if we look next at our expressions, we can see that I have end angle and start angle dependent on a counter. So mesh point count, it's starting at a value of 0. And then as we increment mesh point count by 1, our start and end angles are going to move by 1.5 degrees. So this is an expression in degrees defining our angular positions relative to that cylindrical coordinate system. So as we increment through our mesh point count, we should see our selection recipes start moving in the circumferential direction. So I'll say okay to this. And then the next thing to do is just to show the creation of one of those connections as a spider through the 1D connection command. And then this is what it would actually be recorded in a journal. So I would start my recording and just record the creation of this. Well, I would actually, let me back up. I would start the recording of the journal by first incrementing mesh point count. So I would change that value in the journal or the recording of the journal. Then I would go to the 1D connection command and define my connection by using selection recipes. So for my source node, I'm going to pick the mesh point node radial plane, and for my target, I want to pick those face radial plane nodes. And I also want to make sure that this is not an editable node-to-node connection. If I set it to editable, it will want to update as I modify the mesh or the selection recipes. So I want to use non-editable and only store the nodes. That means that these connections will not update if we make any changes. I actually need to go here and pick my selection recipe again. And so I've got the source as mesh point nodes, the target is the face radial plane nodes, and then I can make this an RBE2 or RBE3. So I'll make that an RBE2 and then say OK here. And then we get our connection. So now this is not 3 elements, but 1 element. If I do an information on this, it tells me that there is 1 element in that mesh and 4 nodes, and it is an RBE2. Okay, so that's good. That's what I want to automate. I want to automate the creation of that 1 element 240 times about the circumference of this model. So I will undo all of that. And again, if I did a, say, menu, tools, automation, and then journal, and record that journal, the steps that I would record would be the edit of my expression. So the edit of this expression, mesh point count, and then the creation of my 1D connection using my selection recipes. Then I would stop the recording, and then I would go and start editing that journal to build in a loop. And that's what I'm going to show here is some of the key points in this journal and the very simple loop that I created. So at the beginning of the program, I start a while loop, and this is using Python. This is actually the first Python script I've kind of successfully created a loop and had it update. So I start with a counter, set it equal to 0, and then I have a I max. This is going to be my maximum value in my my conditional statement. So I want to loop through I count until it reaches a value I max, and so that's it. That's my my 90% of the loop, I guess you could say. But at the end of this code, I do have to increment my I count, and so then this is going to update at the end of this code block, and then it goes up to the top again and starts over and goes through. In this case, it will go through 3 times because it's comparing to I max. And so what's important in this actual recording of the journal and the steps that are being executed in Simcenter 3D? Well, one is in the expressions, I was modifying the expression mesh point count. So here you can see the definition of expression 1. Expression 1 is finding that expression named mesh point count. And then in this line, it is actually setting the value of mesh point count, and it's setting it. Originally, this was just set to 1, so it was in double quotes with 1. That was the value that I keyed in when I recorded my journal. And now I've changed that to use I count, my counter here, as it needs to be a string. So I use a Python definition of a string from an integer value. And then that is really all that I need from the expressions point of view. And if I scroll down a bit further, we get into the 1D connection. And in the 1D connection, I've kind of deleted some unnecessary pieces of the journal, but there's probably still more that can be deleted. But I've left contents in that I was unsure if I could delete it or not. One key item here is the definition of this mesh collector 1. Mesh collector 1 is identifying a mesh collector in my model called RBE3. So that corresponds to that mesh collector there. And then we have mesh collector 2. It is identifying a second mesh collector as RBE2. It's this mesh collector. So now essentially I've got this journal set up that I could use maybe mesh collector 1 or mesh collector 2, depending on if I want to create an RBE3 or an RBE2. And then there are only 4 subsequent lines here that I would need to modify or keep track of in case I wanted to do this as an RBE3 or an RBE2. As we proceed down the dialog or the journal, it's actually setting values, default values in the journal or in the dialog. And so most of this, we don't need to concern ourselves. But where we see mesh collector 2, we know that it is intending to create an RBE2. So I should see 4 lines of interest. There's this line here where I see mesh collector 2. I can make that a 1 or a 2. And then I see RBE2 here. That could be an RBE2 or 3. So this is my element type in the dialog. I'm setting the element type in the dialog to RBE2. I can set it to RBE3 as well. And then we see here, connection builder 2. The element container is being set as mesh collector 2. So that's kind of the consistent with this line here. These two have to be consistent, or maybe this one is even not needed. But this is going to be 2 and 2, or 1 and 1. And then as we move down into dialog further, we can see where we're defining our bounding volumes that we're using for the source selection. And we have our named selection recipe for our source, and then we have our target bounding volume selection recipe as another named selection recipe. And then finally, we have another element type in our CAE connection builder 2, element type named RBE2. So it's all set up for the creation of RBE2s, and it is going to loop through 3 times. So now let's run this journal to see what it will produce for us. So go ahead and go to Tools, Play, and it will play this journal here. And go ahead and say Run. And what we should see is the creation of 3 RBE2 meshes. And if I zoom in there, I see there's the first one, and then the second, and the third. And then we can see that our selection recipes have moved to that 3rd station. And then, for example, if I do an information or a solver syntax preview on this in terms of the Nastran content, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 grids. So the core node and the 3 leg nodes, and then it is an RBE2 as well. So it's creating the elements correctly, and then we can undo that one time, actually 3 times, undo all those steps that were in the journal. And then let's go ahead and modify that journal. And instead of creating RBE2s, we can create RBE3s. So in the 1D connection portion of the dialog, I want to define the use of mesh collector 1 now. Mesh collector 1 is the RBE3, this collector here. I want my element type to be an RBE3. I want the mesh collector 2 to not be used, but use mesh collector 1. And then again, I want to use not RBE2, but RBE3 as the element type. So I'll go ahead and save that now, and then run this journal again. So play, run that. And this time we see, if I hide the mesh, hide, and go into wireframe mode, we can see these elements a bit better. So now they're RBE3s, and there's 1 element, 2 elements, and there's the 3rd element. And then again, if I do an info on this mesh, it will tell me I've got 1 element in that mesh. It has 4 nodes, so 1 core and 3 leg nodes, and then it's an RBE3. So good, that's all working well. So we can undo all that again, and maybe hide my mesh, and go modify the journal one last time. And instead of doing it 3 times, we will do it 240 times. So actually this has to be 240, right? And save that. So now our execution should run the full circumference of the model. And there we see marching along is the creation of each element and updating the expressions, updating the selection recipes, creating a mesh containing 1 element. Each element has 1 core node and 3 leg nodes. So now if I look in the navigator, I can see I've got 240 elements or meshes that were created, 240 elements, and they are all consistent with how I'd hoped it would be, connecting those mesh point core nodes to face nodes that are having the same angular value or coordinate value from that coordinate system. So much better way to do that creation by, now that I have this program, I can modify the program to a given model's situation.